between an entrepreneur and an executive can be discussed with the help of this particular quotation. An executive is a person who does a defined amount of job. Okay, for example, my working hours are from 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. If you see, all the executives are 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. They work in a defined way. Okay, they don't want to take any other risk. So that's why the executives will get a limited income, limited increment, limited pay, limited promotions. Like that, they will continue. They live for the 40 years of life with this particular limitations because they don't want to take any kind of challenges or any kind of opportunities. Even if someone comes and say, ma'am, let us go and invest in equity shares, let us go and invest in mutual funds, or go and invest in cryptocurrency or some other thing, I'll see every opportunity as a scam. But the rich people are not like that. Why they have become rich is they are risk taking. Okay, through that risk, some people may be facing the losses through the risk. Some people are taking the opportunities and they are becoming billionaires. That is the basic difference between an executive and an entrepreneur. So exactly, what is the definition of a startup? A startup is a temporary organization. Here we have to underline the word called temporary organization. Afterwards, I'll explain you why the startup is called a temporary organization, which is designed to search for repeatable and scalable business model. So it is not a general business model. The startup culture is in a different organization which is going to turn into a scalable business model. It is some kind of experiment in the entrepreneurship or experiment in the business model. So what are the features that we are going to find out in the startup innovation is you can able to see the difference between the sustaining innovation and disruptive innovations. For example, previously we have cameras. Okay, if you ask up to 1990s or up to middle of 2000s or 2000s, if you say wherever you want to go, you used to carry a camera. Wherever the plan trips you want to go, you used to carry a camera. Nowadays we are not carrying the camera because we are having a mobile phone which is all in one in future. Am I right or wrong? In the same way, we used to have a personal computer with webcam technology. Nowadays we have laptop embedded with all the technologies. Previously, if you want to refer any kind of meaning in any name, we used to refer to encyclopedia. A large book or textbook will be there, volumes of textbook will be there, encyclopedia in management, encyclopedia in English, encyclopedia in medicine, engineering, like that. Now we are using whatever the thing that you want to search for, we are using Wikipedia. And previously the blockbuster movies we used to watch in theaters. Now everything has become OTT and we are using different type of platforms like Amazon or Netflix or AHA or Sony or Z5. Such kind of platforms you are watching. Previously, if I want to book an auto also, I want to go near the road, I want to search for the auto, bargain with the auto fellow and go. Nowadays what happened, Uber, Ola, such kind of and we have such kind of taxis are picking up the customers from their doorsteps. What is happening is from the sustaining innovation, we are moving to the disruptive innovation. Whatever the things that have been taken place, all these have been disrupted and new innovations have been put into the market. So what I mean by startup is the startups thinks about the product market fit, whether their product is going to be fit into the market or not. They are going to test in the case of startups. In the same way, they are going to start with a small market test. So the startup is a company which they are going to experiment in a small market. The small market can be, for example, we can say in Hyderabad, one Miapur market or in one high-tech city market, like that. For example, if I want to start a food truck where the customers are there, who need food, the people who are working for 24 hours by 7 or who are working in the night shifts. Okay, let me start a food truck in an area where more number of customers are available. So they have started the food truck. In 1 or 2 areas it is hit. Now we can able to see all the food trucks all over the city. So what happened? We are going to start the startups with a small kind of market test. And the startups are the companies where they are passionate about disruption. What do you mean by disruption here? We are going to change the cultural habits, we are going to change the passions, we are going to change the technology completely. We are going to disrupt the previous culture and replace with the new culture or the new technology. And these startups foster awesome company cultures. If you see the startup companies, if you go to any incubators or accelerator companies, if you go there, thus you don't feel that startup need a big building or startup need thousands of employees like that. They are the small companies. Their employee size may be 1 to 5 people or 5 to 10 people like that. Okay, and they take feedback very seriously. Whatever the culture for customers feedback is there, the startup companies take very seriously. They are very focused and they build engaging communities. So this is all about the startups. So what does we say about the startup? It is not about the ideas, it is about making the ideas happen. Ideas, if you conduct any ideation competition, any college, okay, number of students are giving good number of ideas. It is not about the ideas. So the startup of the companies are very focused in order to make the ideas to happen. So these are the what I said features of the startups. So if you can able to see this Tesla or Beats or iPad or 4G or Android or Bitcoin or blockchain technology or Uber or WhatsApp, which you are using now frequently, or Instagram or Snapchat, they didn't exist in 2007. Okay, you may all of you please check it. With the people who are born before 2007, they are not exist, but they are very popular, and we are not able to everyone almost if you take 100 youngsters, 98 or 90% of the youngsters are having all these apps in their mobile phone. So this have become a part and parcel of our life. So in simple words, how can you state about the startup is, it refers to a company in the first stages of its operation. Okay, that is the difference between a startup and an entrepreneurship. So in entrepreneurship is a firm which has completely a taken shape company is called an entrepreneurship company. For example, you take Tata Group, you can take Reliance Group, they are called entrepreneurs. Okay, because they have passed all the stages of operation. If any company is in the first stage of operation, they are called the startup companies. So the startup are founded by one or more entrepreneurs who want to develop a product or service for which they believe there is a demand. If they believe that there is a demand, two or more people are starting this kind of startups. So here, recently, this particular advertisement or this particular what do you say video which I have gone through has grabbed latest attention, and even it is being what is tweeted by Mr. Anand Mahendra, the CEO of Mahindra Group of Industries. Here, I would like to show an audio to all of you students. Please have a look at this particular video.
Hi, my name is Anotharan. I'm the auto rickshaw driver in Chennai. My auto inside is iPad Pro is available, laptop is there, and Samsung Galaxy Tab is there, and fridge inside is Aquafina water bottle, take a boat and take water, and breadwood box is here, that inside seafoods and snacks. And AWS Deep Links also available, and Amazon Echo Show, and Google Next Hub, and small TV, and Wi-Fi also available, and cycling mission and customer relationship development contest is there, and token read, magazine, newspaper. Why? Because my customers is my real guard. That is, I'm able to eat only from the money I earn through my customers. This is accidental job only, so I didn't directly choose this job, but I tried to do currently available services. That is the reason. Currently, I am employed. So, auto fare is normal auto fare. So, government providing to the same auto fare. Comparatively, other auto drivers, same price. That is the reason. Before the service, I'm waiting customers. Current scenario, customer waiting for me. That is the changes. The teachers also all-time free service in my auto inside. Teacher job is world number one mobile service job. So after COVID, I am also included to the 3-4 persons, so free service for my auto inside. One is sanitizing worker, one is nurse, one is doctors. So three more people also all-time free service in my auto inside. Today,
People wait for hours to get into his auto. He also gives free rides on special occasions such as Children's Day, Women's Day, Mother's Day, etc. Today, this auto driver is taking seminars to the world's biggest companies like Microsoft, Google, HP, and 304 others. He has already given more than 7 TEDx talks in various parts of the country. He has an app and a website so that customers can book him in advance. If you find the story of Anna Durai inspiring, do share it with your family and friends. For more such inspiring.
So, hope everyone has gone through this particular video. So, it is about Anna Durai, who is what Mr. Anand Mahendra has tweeted is, if MBA students spend a day with him, it would be a compressed course in customer experience management. What he said previously, I used to wait for the customers. Now he is telling that the customers are waiting for me. What is the difference now? Because he had all the features which the customers are expecting him to be there in his auto. So that is a different idea. So this is called a disruptive technology. So now I'm continuing with my presentation. So what do you mean by a startup? What is the definition of a startup is a startup is a committed, scalable, and innovative organization. How can you say it is a committed organization? It is an organizational number. It is registered in some country or within certain policy. For example, in India, all the startups need to be registered under Startup India policy, and every startup are more digitalized in nature. They are more technology based in nature. That means they will have an app, they will have a dedicated website, they will have an application, and they use more of digital technologies or digital marketing strategies to attract the customers. In the same way, they are scalable. When can you say a startup is a scalable enterprise? For example, a startup will be started by one or two persons or one or two friends of the same mindset or same opinions or same thoughts. It may be 2 to 4 people or 2 to 5 people. Okay, presently they work in a small space or small hub, like we have Deep Hub in Hyderabad, we have J Hub in JNTU, like that. Okay, where they are going to take a small co-working space and they start the startups. And as and when the company's business operation expands, as and when the company's processes expands, they're likely to recruit more number of employees. When they started recruiting more number of employees, we can say they are scalable. And at the same time, when the operations are increasing, when they are looking towards the funding, they are said to be a scalable operations. And at the same time, they are said to be innovative. How can you say they are said to be innovative? They are no more than 10 years of age and they have more of technology or innovation element in them. Then we can say that startup is more of innovative. So what are the key characteristics of a startup is it focuses on growth. They are not happy with one particular product. If you can able to see all our apps, they are being updated for every 2 or 3 days. You can see in our Google Play Store, if you see, there is always an update. That means new amount of features are going to be added inside the app. Okay, for example, if you take the WhatsApp which we are using, in the initial days when it has been started, there was no call facility, there was no video call facility, there was no group calling facility or no group video calls facility. But by taking the customer's feedback into consideration, they have embedded all these features. Previously, when I want to make a video call to others, I used to use the Skype. Now the Skype software has been replaced with this kind of WhatsApp, and this kind of call facility is not only there in the WhatsApp. We have in the Google, we have in the present using app like Facebook, we have in even in our WhatsApp or Instagram also, that video call facility is available. So it focuses more on growth. It is more than one person and no more than 500 employees. The small startup is a small organization. So no more than 500 employees will be working in startup. It works with the technology, and any startup is something which is innovative in nature. These are the 5 important characteristics of a startup. Then if you ask the Ministry of Commerce and Industry of Government of India, they define the startup in a very traditional or conventional definition. Any startup is an entity up to 7 years from the date of incorporation. It can be a private limited company or a registered partnership company or a limited liability company. So it is important for up to from the inception till 7 years, it will be recognized as a startup. At the same time, in the case of startups in biotechnology area, the period is up to 10 years. So how can you say a particular company as a startup is? First of all, it need to be registered under Startup India policy. Then it has to be incorporated or registered as a private limited company or a partnership company or a limited liability company. Its turnover of the entity of any financial year since the incorporation should not exceed 25 crores. Then only we can say a particular company as the startups. Okay, so now what are the different type of startups that we have? So we have small to mid-sized business startups, we have social startups, we have large scale startups, we have scalable startups, we have acquirable or buyable startups, and we have lifestyle startups. If you ask me what do you mean by small to mid-sized business startups, they have revenue assets and their working force is not greater than 2,000 employees, then we can say they are called small to mid-sized business startups. In the way, second one, it is called social startups. When any startup is working for a social cause or a cultural cause or for the environmental cause, okay, then it is said to be a social startups. Then what do you mean by large business startups? Their large business startups is they have an intention to be more innovative and make substantial waves in the industry. They want to beat or offer competition with the large scale business, or their investment is more. Then it is said to be a large business startups. In the same way, scalable startups. What do you mean by scalable startups? The businesses that are formed to scale immensely or over time to turn into a high growth or profitable companies are said to be a scalable startups. Then certain startups are called acquirable or buyable startups. That means they are going to start as a small startup company, but their main logo is to get collaborated, to be merged with, or to be taken over by a large scale organization. Then it is said to be an acquirable startup. And last one is the lifestyle startups. What do you mean by lifestyle startups? Their motto is to change the lifestyle of the people, or their motto is to provide a service only to the particular class of the customers who are having a different lifestyle or a passion or the taste or the interest. There such kind of startups are called lifestyle startups. For example, you have music industry, you have literature clubs. So such kind of startups are called fashion technologies or fashion industries. So such kind of startups are called lifestyle startups. So these are different type of startups. Now, for any company, the first point of the startup is the idea. Okay, how you can able to see it is the normal auto person, but it has an innovative idea. Why can't I provide water? Why can't I provide Wi-Fi? Why can't I provide magazines? Why can't I provide such and other kind of subscription to my customers? It is the idea. More than the idea, the next part after the idea, the next thing which comes into the picture is the finance. How the financing life cycle of the startups will takes place. If you see on the x-axis we have taken the time, on the y-axis we have taken the finances. The first stage is called seed capital or the early stage. In this particular early stage, it is called the value of death. Why I call this as a value of death is more amount of funds need to be involved here. Okay, and we are not going to get anything in return. First, there is an investment. For the first few years of the startups, okay, they are going to be in debt. They have taken the debt from the banks or from the angel investors or from financial companies, and it is called the value of debt because they are not going to get any revenue. They have to pay the interest on the loans from their pocket, and they have to pay the expansion expenses or marketing expenses from their pocket. So this particular period is called value of death. The next two stages are called early stage, growth stage, and later stage. Here, the funds, here the organization, if the value of that stage is being crossed, the startup companies is likely to achieve a break-even point, and it is called emerging growth stage. Here, the startup business companies need to get the funds from the venture capitalist. Then, after crossing this particular later stage, growth stage, it is called the growth stage. Here, the startup companies may go into IPO, that is initial public offering or public market, and they get the funds from the investment bankers and bankers. Okay, so like that, from the break-even point to profits, it will emerge. So these are the various financing stage of the startups. Now we are going to learn about different type of terms which are related to financing of startups. Any startup person will start initiate the company with the bootstrapping. What do you mean by bootstrapping? These are the keywords or the buzzwords every student need to know. That means the bootstrapping is nothing but contributing the capital of the startups from his own pockets, maybe from the personal savings or from the family or from taking the loans from the banks or from the angel investors. Mostly, if you are taking the funds from the personal savings or from the family, then you are bootstrapping the startups. Then after bootstrapping, the next stage is the venture capitalist. What do you mean by venture? Venture is anything which is done new. Adventure, anything which is done new is called a venture. So after bootstrapping, after the business will become a scalable business, the startup company people will approach the venture capitalist. They provide the funds to the startup firms and small business with the exceptional growth potential. For example, if you see what are the key venture capitalists is, OYO rooms, they had $1,500 million amount is being contributed by the venture capitalist. In the same way, Paytm, $1,000 million were being provided by the venture capitalists. Udaan, Delivery, Lenskart is being funded by the venture capitalists to an amount of $585 million, $413 million, and $315 million. Next type of people who funding the startups are called angel investors. You know, angel is a very good term. Angel is one person who protects you whenever you are in risk, whenever you are in trouble. Okay, who are these angel investors? Angel investors will support you by providing the money. They are not the active partners, but they are the secret partners. They will support you in your startup companies. So how they are going to support you? Certain angel investors invest the money as a source of capital. Certain angel investors, they work as a mentors or advisors for you. Certain angel investors work as a networker for you. What do you mean by networker? They will introduce you to some other companies, some other competitors, some other collaborators, some other customers like that. Some angel investors help you as a recruiters. Some angel investors will build you the public relations and marketing. Some angel investors will provide you the technical support, or some angel investors will act as a board member for you. So these are the different type of roles which are being played by the angel investors. So if you can able to see what are the famous India's unicorn. First of all, what do you mean by unicorn? Unicorn is a startup. Unicorn is any startup with if your company value is more than $1 billion, then your startup is called an unicorn company. If you can able to see before 2021, these are the high valued startups. 197 Communication, Biju's app. If you can able to see after 2020 pandemic attack, more number of subscriptions have been taken by Byju's. Then OYO, NSC, Ola Cabs, Zomato, Dream11, and Swiggy. Then these are the different type of other startups which have been added in 2021. That is last year. Okay, what are the last year? Cred FinTech, Meesho, ShareChat, Digital Insurance, 5-Star Business Finance, Gupshup, Infra Market, and Grow. These are the Grow Financial Technologies. So these are the few more unicorns that have been added in 2021. So there are total number of 32 unicorns which are available. 32 unicorn. That means the startups with a business value of 1 billion crores US dollars are available in India as of now. Then what are the facts about the startups? If you can able to see, India has the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. So after USA, it is the India which is having a startup ecosystem, and our startup culture or the startup companies are increasing at the rate of 12 to 15%, which is very good. In the same way, we have about 50,000 startups in 2000 2018, and around 8,900 to 9,300 of these are technology-based startups. And 1,300 new technology startups are born in 2019 alone. Okay, so these are the important facts. Then what are the indicators of the growth of startup ecosystem? The pace of growth in the startup ecosystem is increasing at the rate of 15% in 2018, while the growth in the number of incubators and accelerators have been at the rate of 11%. And the startups are creating 40,000 new jobs in India. For example, if you want a job, we have to depend on the industry. So it is not the large scale sectors where we need to depend. We also need to depend on small scale sectors and the startup companies where they are providing many opportunities, not only for the jobs, but also for the internships for many youngsters and graduates and undergraduates. Okay, and in the same day, in India, which city we can able to see a lot of startup culture is Bangalore. Bangalore has been listed within the world's 20 leading startup cities in 2019 Startup Genome Project rating in India. In the same way, if you see the funds which are raised by the startups in India, the Indian startups have gone to raise seizable ticket sizes from various global and domestic funds, and the top 15 deals constituted about 40% of the total deal value. So we are among the top 40%, top 15 deals are being taken by the Indian companies. The number of deals are greater than 50 million US dollars, increase from the previous years. This is about the funds raised by the startups in India. So what are the drivers of startup ecosystem? So who are supporting our startups? On one side, it is the corporate, and on the other side, it is the government who are supporting the startups. How the startups are being supported by the corporate is, for example, if you take Facebook, it is in partnership with Startup India. They disperse cash grants of $50,000 each to the top 5 selected startups. In the same way, 10,000 Women program was being initiated by Goldman Sachs to provide women entrepreneurs all over the world. In the same way, Microsoft Ventures Accelerator program in India has recently picked up. So this is how the corporates are contributing the expansion of startups in our country. In the same way, if you take the government also by its Startup India program, if you can see Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDBI, they have launched a program to assist the small and medium enterprise. And we have over 26 states in our country which have their own startup policies. And there are certain other interesting facts about the startups. If you take the total global industry distribution of the startups into consideration, among the various startups, 7.1% of the startups are in fintech area. Fintech areas may be like they are operating in Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, they may be operating in equity investments, they may be operating in stock markets, they may be operating in insurance, or they may be operating in mutual fund industry. Like that, fintech startups are around 7.5%, and life sciences and healthcare startups are around 6.8%. The startups on artificial intelligence is around 5%, and 4.7% of the startups are in gaming, and 3.3% of the startups are in ad tech, 2.8% of the startups are in educational technology, 2.1% of the startups are in clean technology, 1.5% of the startups in blockchain technology, 1.3% of the startups in robotics, 0.7% of the startups are working on cyber security, and 0.6% of the startups are working on ag tech technology. So all these, most of these startups are based on technology itself. Then if you take what are the top 10 companies in the terms of startups, as I said, USA is ranking in number 1 position with 65,703. I said India previously it was in 3rd position. Now little they have moved up. Now Indian startups are around 8,301, followed by UK, Canada, Indonesia, Germany, Australia, France, Spain, and Brazil. So this is the reason why we are discussing about startups in India. Then if you take the geographical distribution of unicorn companies, you can able to see here, USA is having 35 unicorn companies, China is having 4 unicorn companies and India is having 3 unicorn companies. More number of unicorn companies are in USA, India, and China when compared to other companies. That itself shows how far we are, our startups are being profitable and developing. In the same way, if you take the highest valued private startups globally, we have ByteDance, Didi Chuxing, Stripe, SpaceX, Airbnb, then Paytm, Epic Games, DJI Innovations, and Grab. I think among all these things, we may be knowing only two names, that is Airbnb and Paytm. Paytm is one of the widest payment app we are using for our regular transactions. In the same way, now if you discuss, not all the startups are profitable, not all the startups are competitive, not all the startups are successful. There are certain startups which are failing in the market. Why do startups fail? Means, so if you take the reasons why they are failing, is 90% of the startups are failing in 10 years of their establishment. They are not even crossing the break-even point level. They are not being even going to the scalable business model. Why this? No market need. Whatever the product that they have invented into the market, that is not being needed by the market. Maybe they are running out of the cash. If they don't have the right team, if they are not able to assess their competitors properly, they have the issues with the pricing or costing. These are the key reasons for many of the startups to be failing in the market. But there are certain other reasons also, like poor product, poor business model, poor marketing, ignoring the customers, losing the focus, then disharmony between the teams, and lack of passion, and bad location, and other reasons are the reasons why the startups are failing. So if you ask any startup company what are the basic challenges they are facing in founding a startup, is the first competition or the first challenge is the competition. The startups are basically small companies, okay, but they are facing severe or tough competition. They have to face the competition with the large organizations or big scale organizations or well established entrepreneur companies. So cash flow is another problem, because they start with a very meager amount of business. They depend on bootstrapping, they depend on angel investors, they depend on venture capitalists. No bank will come forward to give a loan to them. So they face major problem with the cash flows, then with the taxes, the economy, state of the economy, and the growth factors. These are the major challenges which are faced by the startups. Then what kind of company funding the most of the startups are using is, most of the startups are dependent on venture capitalists. Basically, they would like to impress the venture capitalists with their idea. Okay, then 17% of the startups, they are depending on angel investors or individual investors. 8% of the startups on private equity, and other startups on corporate investors or on organic growth. So if you ask any startups what are their plans that they have, 50% of the startups, their plan is to get acquired by the big companies. And 80% startups, their plan is, after turning into a scalable and innovative business, they want to have an IPO. They want to convert their private limited company or a partnership company into a public limited company by going into an IPO. That is the primary issue market. Then they want to stay private, 17%, and others, they said they don't know. Then what are the fastest growing startup industries? As I already told you, these technology-based startups. In the technology-based startups, we have healthcare, transportation, followed by financial services, artificial intelligence, and e-commerce startups are the fast-growing startups in the world. Then we are coming to the major part of the discussion now. How to start a startup? So if anyone wants to start a startup, what are the various steps to be followed? Okay, so for any startup, the first point to start is, even though I have given you various steps and various kind of flow chart, I would like to say it is your idea. It is your idea. It is not a normal idea. It should be an innovative idea. It should be a disruptive idea. So any startup person, they should not live today. They have to live in the future, ahead of your time. What would happen if the same kind of lockdown, if the same kind of situation would repeat? Okay, so you have to live in the future. Okay, So what is missing in the world? You need to find out where the customers are not happy, where the customers are unhappy. You need to, the customer dissatisfaction is the key for your investment for any startup company. So they need to look at the problems. They need to look at the challenges which the customers are facing. Okay, where they need to look at the opportunities where the competitors are not providing to the customers. Look at the feedbacks of your competitors. If they are not able to face those feedback, take those feedbacks as your opportunities and try to solve with your particular product. Write down and bounce back with the people. Write it down and bounce ideas around, and then make a prototype. Now you have an idea. Please prepare a prototype of your idea. Show this prototype to 100 people. Maybe it is the ideation competition which is available in your college. Now many colleges are organizing. Even the government of India through the Ministry of Industries, small scale industries, they are also organizing ideation competition. Show your prototype in different type of competitions or exhibitions or fairs. Then I iterate on the prototype until it makes a sense. So then definitely if 10 people listen to your ideas or 100 people listen to your ideas, they may post different type of questions. They will give different type of comments. There may be a positive comment, it may be a negative comment. So don't take negative comments as a degrading factor, or don't take it seriously. Okay, take it as a positive note, and again you work on it, a prototype. Now you have a prototype, you have an idea, you have product available with you. Now you can't able to run the entire show on your own. Try to find a co-founder, try to find a partner who can work with you on your idea, who has the same passion like you. Now you need to register your company under the Startup India policy. So I'm going to the next one, how to start up a startup. So the first phase of the startup is to have an idea, then prepare a prototype and show the prototype, participate in a competition. Okay, then coming to the important aspect of Startup India policy. If you go and visit the Startup India policy, you can able to find there are certain 7 stages for registering your company under the Startup India policy. Step number 1 is incorporate your business. What do you mean by incorporating your business? You need to incorporate your business. That means you need to develop your business either as a private limited company or a one-man limited company or a limited liability company or a partnership company. Like that, you need to register your business first. After registering your business, obviously when you register your business, you have your memorandum of association and articles of association. Everything is in its place. Then you need to register your business with your Startup India program. So after that, you need to get a DPIIT recognition. What do you mean by DPIIT recognition? It is Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. This particular certification you need to get after getting the registration. Step number 4 is getting a recognition application. Then after DPIIT recognition, then we need to submit various documents for registration. What are the documents that you need to submit? Your incorporation of the business, your board of director details, and you need to provide the website details, and you need to provide the PAN number. And at the same time, whenever you have an idea which is innovative in nature, which is technology based in nature, okay, definitely you need to register your idea under IPR, that is intellectual property rights. Okay, submit, okay, or apply for a patent right for your idea so that no person can able to copy your idea. So all you will get the copyrights or patents or trademarks or whatever it is. You are going to get submit all these documents for the registration. After submitting the documents for the registration, you will get a recognition number for your startup. Okay, then after getting your recognition number for the startups, you have some other areas like your patents, your funding, and you need to work on self-certification or under employment and labor laws, and you need to apply for the tax exemption because all the startups are exempted from the income tax for the first 3 years of their operation, and they can be able to avail certain special benefits which are certified by interministerial board. And the startups incorporated after 2016 can apply for the income tax exemptions. So this is the reason why we need to register our startups from Startup India program, because you are not only going to get a support from the government in the form of tax waiver, and we also going to get certain benefits in the form of getting the loans at 0% interest or low rate of interest from the government. So for the startups, as I said, idea is very, very important. These are the various steps in the startups. You need to prepare a proper business plan. What are the important elements you need to prepare in the business plan is, first you need to prepare, because you need to attract your investors, your angel investors, your venture capitalists only through submitting a proper business plan, through a proper proposal. So how to prepare a business plan is, you need to provide an executive summary where you are going to mention about your vision, mission, and your purpose. You need to explain what is your target market, that means your product, to whom you are offering this product, whether it is for the kids or for the women, working women, or for the the adults or old age people. You are going to explain them. Then you are going to define who are your competitors, what are their strengths and weaknesses, what is the competitive advantage that is faced by your company. Then you are going to explain about your human resources, your suppliers, vendors, what is your marketing plan, how do you operate your business, and what are your financial projections in the terms of your assets, liabilities, income, and expenditure. This is how you are going to prepare a business plan. And the same way, you need to convert the same in the business model. This is the business model canvas. What are the elements of business plan is there, you can able to incorporate in the business model. So if you can able to see, these are the various motivation the people will get from the startups. For example, if you take Amazon, it has almost no stores, but it is delivering the products to the companies. In the same way, Uber, it doesn't have its own cars. It is only an app. It is only a technological device. But it will ask the car drivers to get your own cars, get it registered with the Uber, and operate the business. Okay, between the customer and the cab driver, Uber company is operating. In the same way, Facebook is not creating any content on its own. The content is created by the customers. In the same way, Alibaba company, if you can see, like Amazon, it has no inventory on its own. Netflix, it is not a TV channel. It's basically an app. It is an OTT platform where the distributors or the producers of the films are, they are selling the movies to these companies, and the subscribers are able to watch the films at their home. In the same way, bitcoins have no physical coins. So this is how the internet or the technology has changed the life. So it is never too late to start a startup or having a business. If you say John Com, he started WhatsApp at the age of 35. In the same way, Starbucks, it was started by Jordan at the age of 51. In the same way, Walmart was started by Sam Walton at the age of 44. And Colonel, he started KFC at the age of 62. Like that, these are the various motivating personalities who started the startups. So how can you say have a great business idea? I already told you, your idea must be able to solve a problem. It should be scalable, and it is not easy to copy. No one should be able to easy to copy. That's why always protect your idea with patents or copyrights. And you should have a huge demand. People should be ready to pay for it. Why should I pay for Amazon? Previously, I used to think like that. Now I thought, yes, it is okay to pay 1,000 rupees for the Amazon, because I can able to watch good number of series or good number of movies by sitting at home only. So you should be passionate about it. It's different for the current solutions. Then, as I told you, Startup India policy, everyone must be aware about the Startup India policy, which was launched by the government in 2016. And all the features I have already explained. As I told you, it has 10,000 crore startup funding pool, and the people who are registered on the Startup India policy have freedom from inspection for the first 3 years of operation, freedom from the capital gain tax for the first 3 years of operation, and income tax for the first 3 years of operation. In the same way, there are certain success and failures are there in startup by the Indian startups. We have almost 15,472 startups recognized by the under the Startup India policy, and over 45% of the recognized startups have minimum of one or two women directors. That shows that even the women are coming forward to have startups, to start a startup company. In the same way, if you see what are the government initiatives towards Startup India, 4,000 plus startups have benefited in the last year through various programs of central government. 960 crores funding has been enabled to startups through various schemes, and 828 crores sanctioned funds for the infrastructure. And if you see what are the various government initiatives to the startup, government is helping all the startup companies by hand holding. What do you mean by hand holding? By providing the legal support, by providing IPR, that is intellectual property rights. They are getting 80% rebate in filing of patents, and also by exit process. In the same way, by funding, Government of India is supporting the startup by creating fund of funds. That means SIDBI fund of funds, that is Small Industries Development Bank of India. In the same way, credit guarantee scheme is being launched by the government to support the startups, and they are providing the tax exemptions. In the same way, incubations. If you see, T-Hub is the biggest incubator in India. Now we have in Telangana. If you those go to these incubators, you can see number of startups are there in these incubators. And at the same time, we have Jawahar JNTU Hyderabad, we have J-Hub is there, and we have V-Hub is there. That is for the women entrepreneurs. Startup for women entrepreneurs startups. V-Hub is also launched by the government of Telangana. Okay, so we have 31 innovation centers in India, 13 startup centers are there, 18 technology business incubators, 7 research parks, and 500 Atal tinkering labs are available in India. Like that, industry and academia. And now if you see, even in many colleges, in many autonomous colleges and affiliated colleges, you can see incubation centers are even available in the engineering and non-engineering colleges also, to encourage the startup culture in the from the college level itself. In the same way, there are certain number of competitions or grants are being awarded by the government, and they are organizing various kind of events to inculcate the startup culture, especially among the youngsters. So these are the government initiatives. If you see, it is the slogan of Narendra Modi, that is the Startup India for the prosperous India. All the benefits which I told you about, what is a Startup India, is there in this new incentives for the startups. So I would like to conclude my present talk today by stating one of the quotation by Dhirubhai Ambani, the famous entrepreneur. The success of the young entrepreneur will be the key to the India's transformation into the new millennium. That means the success of the country depends on how many entrepreneurs the country can able to generate, because the more number of entrepreneurs means more working life, more standard of living, and more employment opportunities to the youth. So this is one of the important slogan by Dhirubhai Ambani. With this, I would like to conclude my presentation on startups. Now the session is open for the question and answer round. If you have any questions, you can answer. And I thank the IAMC principal, Sri Raghuveer sir, Thirumal Rao sir, and all the faculty members and students for giving me this opportunity. Shall I stop presenting, sir? Any doubts? Thirumal Rao sir? Nirmal Rao, sir.
Hello, ma'am.
Sir.
Yeah. So, dear students, any one of you can just have few words on this startup. Any one of you, what you have learned and how did you feel about the thing? You can talk about any one of you. 1A students, are you there? Honors 1A. Hello. Yeah. Thank you very much, madam, for making this session live and also giving a scope for students to go for startups, as this is the startups and entrepreneurship era. Many of the students, many of the people surrounding us are coming up with various innovative ideas, also both eco-friendly and also the conventional business. So thank you very much, ma'am. We thank the management and the principal of St. Mary's for giving us this opportunity of taking this guest lecture. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for providing me the opportunity. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.